Something happened in 2024 that almost nobody caught, and the people who did went very quiet about it. The average American household spent $78,233 last year. Wages grew 3.8%. Spending grew 5.1%. That gap, small as it looks on paper, is the exact mechanism quietly moving millions of people further from financial stability every single year. Not because of one bad decision, not because of bad luck, because of 12 completely ordinary habits that most people never examine closely enough to question. I want to be straight with you from the start. This isn't a list of obvious things you already know you shouldn't do. A few will feel familiar, but at least 3 or 4 of these are almost certainly sitting in your own life right now, and you haven't run the real numbers on them yet. By the time we get to the end of this, that changes. Let's start with the one hiding in plain sight. Food delivery apps have fundamentally changed how people eat and how quietly those costs stack up. When you open one of those apps, the restaurant you're ordering from is already paying the platform a commission between 15 and 30% on every order. They don't absorb that. They build it into the menu price, which runs roughly 25% higher than what you'd pay sitting inside that same restaurant. Then the platform adds its own delivery fee, a service fee, a small order charge if you haven't hit a minimum, and a surge price during busy hours, before the tip. A meal priced at $12 in the restaurant arrives at your door for $22. That's an 83% markup. Someone ordering delivery twice a week, spending just $15 more per order than they would otherwise, loses $1,560 a year without noticing. Put that same amount into an investment returning 8% annually for 20 years, and that single habit cost you nearly $7,800 per year. The occasional order when you're genuinely stuck makes sense. The weekly routine is simply a wealth transfer you agreed to without reading the terms. New cars carry a number that most buyers never see coming. The average new vehicle in 2026 cost $48,000. The moment you leave the dealership, it loses approximately 20% of its value. $9,600 gone before you've made a single payment. By the end of year 1, depreciation reaches 25 to 30%. Your $48,000 car is now worth between $33,000 and $36,000. The average monthly payment hit $738 in late 2025, which is nearly $9,000 a year before insurance, fuel, or maintenance. There's a pattern that runs through virtually every study on wealth-building behavior. The median vehicle price among genuinely wealthy people is $31,367. They drive Toyotas, Hondas, and Fords, not because they can't afford more, because they understand that transportation is a utility, and the money they didn't spend on depreciation is the money that compounded into everything else they have. Restaurant prices are up 35% since 2019. 2 people, 1 dinner, drinks included. You're regularly at $100 to $140 before the night ends. The drinks are where it becomes almost impossible to justify. A $14 cocktail contains roughly $2 worth of ingredients. Coffee marked up somewhere around 2,000%. Restaurants survive on beverage margins. A family spending $200 weekly on dining out spends over $10,000 a year. That same family, eating at home, eating well, could do it for $600 a month and save over $3,000 annually while eating food that's genuinely better for them. The promise of streaming was simple. Cancel cable. Pay $8 a month. Watch everything. That deal has been dead for years. Subscribing to all major platforms today costs over $100 monthly, more than most people paid for cable, and the content fragmentation is entirely intentional. Each platform holds specific shows hostage to force multiple simultaneous subscriptions. The average household pays for 4.5 services, according to 2025 Deloitte research. The fix is straightforward and almost nobody does it. Subscribe to one platform, watch everything you want, cancel, move to the next. You access the same content for $12 to $18 a month instead of $75. Fast food prices are up 55% since 2019. A basic meal at most major chains now runs $12 to $15. The original value was cheap and convenient. The cheap is gone. What remains is convenient and unhealthy at premium prices. For that same $15, you can cook a real meal in 20 minutes. The regular habit costs between $3,000 and $5,000 a year. The new iPhone costs $1,200 and takes marginally better photos than the one already in your pocket. The difference between a current flagship and a 3-year-old model is functionally invisible in daily use. A refurbished model 2 generations back costs roughly half the price. Someone upgrading every 2 years burns approximately $600 annually in depreciation alone for a chip that runs 4% faster. The average American wedding now costs $35,000 for one day. Research from Emory University found that couples spending $50,000 or more are 46% more likely to divorce than couples who spend under $10,000. The wedding industry charges double the moment that word is attached to anything. The marriage is what matters. Starting at $35,000 lighter in savings puts financial pressure on a relationship from the very first month. Travel has real value. Experiences matter in ways that material purchases don't. But the average American can't cover a $1,000 emergency, yet regularly funds multi-thousand-dollar vacations on credit cards. The vacation ends. The debt doesn't. Budget travel delivers most of the experience at a fraction of the cost. Travel within your actual finances creates real memories. Travel beyond them creates monthly statements that arrive long after the enjoyment faded. Buy now, pay later services exist because they're profitable. They're profitable because users spend 10 to 40% more than they would paying up front. Your brain processes 4 payments of $50 instead of 1 payment of $200, and the friction disappears. Nearly 40% of users have missed at least 1 payment, according to Federal Reserve survey data. The free financing becomes expensive debt. If you cannot pay for something today, you are borrowing against money you haven't earned yet to own something worth less the moment it arrives. The store brand ibuprofen contains the same active ingredient at the same dosage as Advil for half the price. The store brand detergent is frequently made in the same facility as the premium version. Switching to store brands across the board saves between $1,500 and $2,500 a year on products that perform identically. You were paying for a marketing budget, not a better product. Subscription boxes are a $32 billion industry built on one psychological principle. People love surprises. The products inside are worth less at retail than the price of the box. That's how the margin works. Cancellation is deliberately complicated. The charges keep appearing long after the boxes stop being opened. A daily $6 coffee drink costs $2,190 a year. The same coffee made at home from quality beans costs roughly $182. That $2,000 difference invested at 8% over 30 years becomes approximately $245,000. Nobody is saying never walk into a coffee shop again. The point is that most people form this habit before they ever ran that number. Once you run it, you make a conscious choice instead of a default one. That's the whole point of everything in this video. Every single item on this list runs on the same engine, you not doing the math. Convenience, status, psychology, and inertia keep money moving away from you quietly and consistently. Each of these industries spends enormous resources making sure the transaction feels small and justified in the moment. Because the moment is when you decide. And an unconscious decision almost always goes in their favor. Conscious spending and unconscious spending lead to dramatically different places over 10, 20, 30 years. The difference isn't income, it isn't luck, it's awareness. If this video made you think differently about even one thing today, share it with someone who needs to see it. Drop a comment and tell me which one hit closest to home. I read every single one. And if you're watching from outside the US, tell me where you're from. These patterns aren't uniquely American, they're global, and I want to know exactly how they show up where you live. See you in the next video, guys. Goodbye.